Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn. I'm back here in my woodlot working on this road. Last time we were here, last video, it was a stuck video. It wasn't this particular crossing, actually it's just in front of the tractor. But it looked just like this, which was an old skid trail that goes 90 degrees to the roads that I'm making, which can make it difficult to go across. And what happened is the blade of my winch got hung up. So I got stuck, I got out. Anyhow, for here, I've walked down there to figure out the best way. I'm sort of following the green flags. Right now I'm a little bit to the left of them, and I'm going to continue to stay to the left of them. So I'm going to head down that way. I've got an idea where I want to go, but before then, I want to take this little ash down. And then after I take the ash down, I'll probably just track my tractor down here, because we're going down a little bit of a hill. So I want to make sure I have decent traction. So I'll pack it down. And then the next bigger tree we'll take down is a beech, which is right about there. A lot of the beech here has beech bark disease. There's an example of it. You see little dimples under the bark. It's a real gray, light gray bark, but they almost, I would say 75 to 90% of the trees have this disease, which is common in American beech. It's too bad. It's good firewood. It has a lot of BTUs, but it also would make nice lumber if it didn't have that disease. I guess I didn't stand back here to look at it. When I was underneath the tree, I thought it was, the tip of that tree was just below those branches on that poplar. But it's not, so that's what it's getting hung up on. So I think I've cut the tree loose from the stump. So I'll just hitch it up with a winch and drag it down. So I've come down off the hill, the ridge a little bit. I packed this area down here. So this next, I've cut a lot of the small trees. This was an old stump. I was actually able to push this over with the blade, the front blade of the tractor, because that's sort of where I want the edge of the road to go. A lot of the small trees I've taken down. This beech is, you can see, it's really ugly. In fact, you can even see through it. Look at that little hole. So there are a bunch of suckers growing on it. Trees, well, not all trees, but some trees, red maple, birch, and beech will grow suckers. If the tree's not in good health or has died or is dying, it'll often sprout up new suckers to try to maintain its heritage, I guess. One thing I didn't realize until I came down here was there's a big rock. So I'm on the fence still whether I want to take this maple down. It's rather large. It wouldn't be a big deal to take down, as it would fall into, there are 2 dead beech trees there, but outside of that it's pretty clear that way. I have enough room between that and the rock to go with my tractor, so for now I'm going to leave it. Just take this down, and I still need to decide, because there's a nice black cherry tree right there with that real rough, dark bark, and then a curvy yellow birch behind it. I'm not sure if I want to take the road that way to the left of the cherry or to the right. But I'm going to take this tree down, and then we'll figure that out. So this is going to be another case of the tree is simply going to lean into its neighbor. I don't think it's going to fall to the ground. and I'll just winch it out. This is my tractor is right handy there, so it's not a big deal. Well, I'll take that. That's fine. It did obviously make it to the ground on its own. It somehow snuck between that yellow birch, which is a decent one, to the left, and this black cherry. Did get wedged in a little bit with a little bit of a sucker from that other yellow birch tree. So this is the back end of the tractor. The beech that we just dropped right there. So I'm going to come this side. So looking this way, it's going to be to the right of the cherry tree. Sneak between the cherry and the yellow birch over there. And come right down here. So these small beech will come down. A slightly larger beech here will come down. A couple other small ones. So I get some small trees around here done. This one here, the crown leans heavily to the left. So I'm going to try to steer it to the left, but a little bit that way into that open spot there. That'll work. That'll align me well to drag it out. I'm going to reposition my tractor a little bit just so I don't scrape against the yellow birch. But I should be able to grab these trees from up there. So this one I think will be the last one before I drag these out, and it'll be a good stopping point because it'll be a fair bit before I run into another tree that's big enough to worry about dragging out. So this one is leaning a little bit to the left. I'd like to drop it that way, and it's a small diameter, so I don't have a lot of leverage with the wedges, but I think it's not leaning heavy enough where I can't coax it that way with just a little bit of force. So we'll give that a whirl. Try to drop it just to the left of that big sugar maple tree right there. Well, that was good and bad about that. Yeah, it basically went where I wanted it to. I did want it to go to a little bit to the right. So, and I didn't need wedges, but that led to the bad, which was, to my surprise, it started to fall, and I really didn't think it was going to. And I didn't get out of the way. So, the tree decided to kiss me a little bit. But I'm glad it was just a kiss and not like a heavy punch or something. But yeah, I need to do better at getting out of the way. Alright, let's limb that up. I'll chain these up and try to drag all these out, and then the first one I cut way back at the beginning, we'll get that on the way out. Well, I've got the cables all hooked up except for that beech closest to the tractor. I'll chain that up on the way back. So the main line is connected to the biggest tree, which is that one. I think it's about 45 feet long. I didn't have a complete third log, but... And then the chains are attached to this one, which is the one that I failed to get out of the way of. And these two 16-footers. I have better luck when I sort of put a figure 8. If I just try to wrap it around them, then I will lose one or both of them normally. After giving it some more thought, I've decided not to have the road go here. It's just too narrow of a spot between what I consider two really good trees that I don't want to damage. And it's not just making the road, it's using it, because I may be pulling up trees through this road for a long time, and there's always a chance that it's going to rub hard on either one of those and debark it and cause some sort of a defect. So what that means is I'm going to move the road to the right, where I move some of the green ribbons to where the center of the road will go, and then I will slowly cut back to the left. But here I'm to the left of the original green flags. Over here I'm to the right of them. So as far as maintaining the layout of the road is fine. But that does mean I need to take down this a little bit monster of a tree. At least for me, it's one of the bigger trees that I've cut. I get to use my newer 462 steel 462. I have a 25-inch bar on it. Normally I play with the 16-inch bar because most of the trees I cut are just not that big. So when I do cut this down, it's going to leave a hefty stump. Hopefully I can get it down far enough where I can easily drive over it, because the road is going to go right to the center of it. This maple here I'll need to take down as well, but it's not nearly as big. So as far as plans to cut it, it is leaning that way. And that's a good way to fall it. It's going to fall on those, and it's going to do one of these things, and the butt will probably spring up. But there are two dead beech trees right there that I plan to drop it right there where those trees are. Probably knock those down, that's fine. And this tree is probably going to be long enough where I'm going to take it out as one twitch, probably in two separate 32-foot logs. Well, that didn't go exactly as planned. I mean, it basically landed where I wanted it to. Something happened. I cut I think I cut too much of the hinge on this side. This side was fine. But it pinched the saw, so I was trying to grab the saw, and then eventually I said, okay, I don't care about the saw, I just want to get out of the way. So this is the damage it did. It doesn't look like it did any significant damage except for a couple of the aluminum fins off the top part of the engine. It busted off. This plastic cowling here I can probably replace, and this one I can epoxy back together. This one here is not a big deal. Alright, the first log I've cut to 32 feet. You can see here marked the 16-foot point. The top of it I limbed as much as I could, but I need to drag it out to access the rest of the branches. It's a little bit of a tangled mess in there. I thought it'd be easier to work if I dragged it out. Well, that makes it a lot cleaner as far as what I have to work with in cleaning it up. A branch like this, I think I'll leave on it and then cut it as its own piece once I get to the landing. A longer piece maybe like this. I may cut it off now, probably that would be the best thing. And then treat it like another log and just chain it separately. But I'll measure this one up, cut it off, and then we'll drag them out. Well, I'm all chained up and ready to go. I did end up cutting both of the branches off that tree. I just thought with that one sticking out, it might cause problems on the way out. So that's what those two little ones are. And then the two main branches, that one's a 32 foot. This one is 16 plus. I didn't measure the next one, but it's probably just shy of 16 foot. Well, I've got the new road direction tracked in as far as I can, or as far as I need to for now. There's where it had gone over there, so now it's right here. So I've cleaned up a lot of the small brush in the road path. There's two larger trees, will be the last two for this round, which is this hard maple here, which is leaning that way, but I want to fell it that way. I think I should be able to move it that way with wedges without much problem. And then I unearthed a rotten stump. I can push that out of the way when in time. And the other one is this, looks like either dead or dying beech. So there's the road right there where I had made it initially. So I'm coming over here. So what I need to do is sort of slowly drift back that way. You can see perhaps a green ribbon right there. But I want to, I noticed this wet spot here I want to avoid, so I don't want to go this way. But it shouldn't be too hard of a turn. If I move that tree there, right there, is the sort of the inside of the corner. And then go through where this tree is. I should be able to go there without too much of a sharp bend and avoid what looks to be a wet spot right there. I think those two went fine. That beech is definitely dead. It's a little punky, but I'm guessing there's enough BTUs in it to make it worthwhile. So that's a 32-foot stem, and this one's a 48-foot stem, the hard maple. Nice and straight, but there are some defects, there are some wounds. So this is not the best quality log. This one right here, it looks much better. There's one dead branch there, but other than that, it's a nice smooth bark, straight stem. And with this one gone, it'll give this one just a little bit more light. So, and then that one probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that one. I can't look at every tree, although sometimes I do get distracted. For this one here, I'm gonna winch this one out as a single one just to see what it does here. It may go under it, it may push this off to the side, but I'm not going to chain this one up until I have this one even with it to figure out what it's going to do. Well, I think this answers my question whether it's worthwhile to bring this back or not. If that's gonna, granted it had the weight of this one on top of it, but if it's that weak, it's probably very punky and not a lot of BTUs. So I will unhitch that. Put the cable around the maple, and we'll just haul the single log out. That's fine. Well, the pile's growing. The sun is setting. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode, I guess, of making a road in the woods. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. Thank you. So these are the two damaged pieces. This is the recoil starter housing, I guess you'd call it. So I just used JB Weld on this, and this is, I think it might even be like a titanium alloy. It's metal, it's very lightweight, but I don't think it's aluminum. It could be. So it doesn't look pretty, but I think that'll work. This all it does is it just holds the sort of that grommet for the pull cord. And there's not a lot of stress on that. This one is the one that I thought I was going to replace. I did look it up. I think it's about $60 or $70 to get a new one. But even before I knew the price, I said, well, I can fix this. Most of the pieces I was able to recover. You can see them there. And underneath here is where I put, this is also a JB Weld product. But I use plastic bonder, and I've had really good luck with it. So you can see all the cracks that I epoxied. And there was one area here where there's missing plastic, so I was able to use just some cellophane tape, actually this packing tape, as sort of a mold, because the epoxy does not stick to that tape, surprisingly. So I was able to put the tape on this side, and then I put epoxy on this side to fill this gap. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I wanted to video this before I put it on because it's going to hide all this, this is some fiberglass tape that you use for drywall. I'm going to use this as a reinforcement and put another layer of this epoxy on. And then I think before that cures, I'm going to stick a piece of aluminum foil on here. I have seen foil like a reflector, because this is going to be against where the engine is, where the heat from the engine is going to sort of radiate. and I don't know how this epoxy is going to react to that sort of a heat. So I thought it would be pretty cheap insurance to put some reflective foil on that. So the fiberglass tape is in place. I'm just going to put one more coat of epoxy and then stick this piece of foil to it. And so this piece is done. There's the foil on the underneath, which is roughly lines up with where the cylinder is and the cooling fins. And the top, I ended up putting some of that same drywall fiberglass tape or mesh on here. I'm just not sure how the epoxy is going to react to cold weather and shock load, so I thought that would be some good insurance. It looks horrible, but not after fashion, really just function. So I probably, when this is completely dried, this is still just a little bit tacky, but I'm going to use it today. Or I'm going to bring it with me. I may not use it depending on what I need to cut, but I'll probably sand this down and maybe just fill in some of the divots with another light coat of epoxy and color it on. Well, there is the finished product. It's a little bit dirty because I went up to the woodlot, and this is just sort of mud spray going down the road with the tractor. But I did use it once, and then after that I brought it back and sanded this and put one more coat of that epoxy. So I think this will hold. It doesn't look pretty, but it should be functional, and it should not break again, I don't think. So thanks for sticking around for this sort of last minute addition to the video. I appreciate you watching.